Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Kayla and welcome. So I hope y'all had a great holiday season and a great new year. I figured what better way to start the new year off than with a healthy meal prep video for y'all. Now this meal prep is specifically for weight loss because that's what y'all voted on in my latest poll. And I always try to listen to what y'all want. But the menu is for a full 5-day work week. It's gonna include breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. Now for this meal prep, I wanted to make the menu super simple with no elaborate recipes, so that way, you know, even beginner meal preppers are not intimidated by it. In fact, you should be able to prep this entire menu in about 1 hour. So if you're somebody that loves simple, easy to whip up meals that are still healthy, you know, you like having that structured menu and you don't mind eating the same meals a few days in a row, all you really care about is getting results, then this menu is definitely for you. Now, if you're someone that does like variety during the week, don't worry. You can take any of the recipes from my previous weight loss meal preps and rotate those recipes in with this week's meal prep just to switch things up, and you'll still get similar results. So I will leave my healthy meal prep playlist for y'all in the description box below. And as always, the recipes for today's meal prep along with the macros for each recipe will be listed over on my blog where you can print them off, and I created a free PDF download that contains the grocery shopping list for this meal prep. So I will leave all those links for y'all in the description box below. But anyway, let's head to the kitchen and get started. So for breakfast this week, I'm prepping my turkey sausage egg muffins with a side of fresh avocado and strawberries. And these muffins are grain-free and dairy-free. So I'm gonna start by cooking the ground turkey. And for this recipe, you're only gonna need half a pound, but I'm gonna go ahead and cook the whole pound just so I can have some extra in the fridge. And I'm gonna be using 80% lean turkey. Now, if you're using 90% lean, feel free to add in 1 tablespoon of either coconut oil or avocado oil. And while that's cooking, I'm gonna chop up 1 handful of fresh baby spinach, as well as 1 red bell pepper. And you're actually only gonna need about half of this bell pepper. And then go ahead and grease a muffin pan with oil, or you can line them with these silicone liners like I'm doing. And going back to the ground turkey, once it's almost done, go ahead and add in the seasonings, including half a teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of sea salt, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, half a teaspoon of thyme, half a teaspoon of sage, and half a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Now keep in mind that these measurements are for a pound of ground turkey. Cut that in half if you're only cooking half a pound. Go ahead and set that aside. And next I'm gonna add 10 eggs to a large mixing bowl, along with half a cup of unsweetened almond milk, 1 teaspoon of sea salt, and half a teaspoon of black pepper. Go ahead and whisk that all up until the egg yolks are fully broken down and everything's mixed in. And now I'm just gonna layer the ingredients, starting with the chopped spinach at the bottom. Then I'm gonna add in some ground turkey, followed by the chopped bell pepper. And then carefully pour the egg mixture into each cup. And since I had some left over, I went ahead and filled in 2 more muffin cups. And now you're just gonna bake the muffins at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 to 30 minutes or until the eggs are set. Once they're done, go ahead and let them cool for a few minutes. And just that fast, the breakfast muffins are done. So now it's time to assemble the meal prep containers. Now on 2 of the days, you're gonna have 3 muffins, and on 3 of the days, you're gonna have 2 muffins, but it doesn't really matter which day it is because at the end of the week, the calorie count will still be the same. I'm also gonna add in half of an avocado to each container to get in some healthy fats. Now, of course, I usually add the avocado first thing in the morning so it doesn't turn brown, along with 3 to 4 strawberries for extra vitamin C. And as always, I will link these glass meal prep containers for y'all in the description box below. But anyway, that is it. Breakfast meal prep is done. And moving on to lunch, I'm making this grain-free chicken burrito bowl, and it is definitely one of my favorite lunch meal preps. All right, first let's chop up the vegetables, starting with 2 bell peppers. And any color bell pepper is fine. I'm gonna use red and yellow. And you're just gonna de-seed those and then cut them into strips. And for the onion, the easiest way is to cut the tip off first and then cut that into rings. Take off the outer papery layer and then cut those rings down the center, and you now have strips. And in a large pan over medium heat, go ahead and add 1 tablespoon of either coconut or avocado oil along with the sliced vegetables. Toss them around to make sure that they're fully coated with the oil. Add a lid and just let those saute until they're slightly soft. Now while those are sauteing, I'm going to slice up 1 ripe plantain. Start by cutting the ends off first and then peel off the skin. Now for this recipe, you want to make sure that the plantain is very ripe with dark spots. You don't want it to be green. And just slice that up just like you would a banana into about 1/2 inch slices and then set that aside. And don't forget to go back to your bell pepper mixture and stir that around so it doesn't burn. Go ahead and add in a little sea salt and pepper. Let those cook for a few more minutes until they're slightly soft or until they reach your desired texture. And then I'm just going to transfer this bell pepper mixture to a plate. And in that same skillet, we're going to cook the plantains. Add in 1 more tablespoon of coconut or avocado oil. Once that's melted, go ahead and add in the plantain slices and turn the heat to low medium. And you basically just want to keep flipping the plantain slices every 2 to 3 minutes to avoid burning. And you can also place the lid on top to help them cook through faster. But once they're soft throughout and they're sort of golden brown, that means they're done and you can go ahead and set them aside. Now we can't forget the cauliflower rice. Add in 1 tablespoon of oil to your skillet along with 5 cups of cauliflower rice. Now you can make your own homemade cauliflower rice with the food processor, but I'm just going to be using the frozen pre-cut cauliflower rice just to speed things up. I'm going to add the lid just to help it cook faster, and you're just going to cook that until it reaches your desired texture. Now while the cauliflower rice is cooking, I'm going to pressure cook 2 chicken breasts. First, let's go ahead and season them. Now you can season them with a pre-made taco seasoning, but I'm going to add in some sea salt, pepper, paprika, cumin, chili powder, garlic powder, and onion powder, and just rub those seasonings into the chicken. Now, of course, you can bake your chicken breast, but I'm going to use my Ninja Foodi to pressure cook them because it's a lot faster. So all you have to do is add the rack into the pot along with 1 cup of water, place the chicken onto the rack, secure the pressure cooking lid, and then set the valve to the seal position. You're going to choose the pressure option, temperature at high, and cook that for 10 minutes. And going back to the cauliflower rice, make sure you stir it occasionally to avoid burning. And once it's almost done, go ahead and add in some sea salt and pepper to taste. And I also like to mix in some fresh chopped cilantro, but this is optional. Go ahead and let that cook for a few more minutes and then set it aside. Now once the chicken is done, you'll want to do a quick release and then go ahead and shred both chicken breasts. And now it's time to assemble the meal prep containers. I'm going to add the cauliflower rice first and just sort of pack that into the side as much as you can. And then add in the sauteed bell pepper mixture. And sauteing the bell pepper and onion mixture instead of eating it raw with this burrito bowl really takes the flavor to the next level. Then I'm going to add in the shredded chicken along with a couple spoonfuls of salsa to each container. Now I just used a pre-made organic salsa that I got from the store, but you can definitely make your own homemade salsa for this recipe. Of course, I gotta add in some avocado, so I'm gonna use half of an avocado for each container. And keep in mind, you can add the avocado the morning of just to make sure it stays fresh and it doesn't turn brown. And lastly, we can't forget the plantain slices. Go ahead and add those. And I'm also gonna add in some extra fresh chopped cilantro, but this is optional. Go ahead and add your lids and lunch meal prep is done. This burrito bowl is so filling and healthy, and like I said earlier, it's definitely one of my favorite lunch meal preps. For dinner this week, I'm making this dairy-free creamed spinach, sweet potato wedges, and 3 nights I'm gonna have chicken thighs, and 2 of the nights this week I'll be having wild-caught salmon. So let's start by making the creamed spinach. And by the way, this recipe is so good. I love it. You have to try it. Go ahead and chop up 1 onion and then peel 2 to 3 garlic cloves. Then I'm gonna defrost the frozen spinach by running it under some warm water for a few minutes. Now for this recipe, I'm using a 10-ounce bag of frozen spinach. Then you'll want to squeeze out as much of the liquid as possible by using either a cheesecloth or I'm using a nut milk bag. I'll go ahead and leave the nut milk bag that I use in the description box below. And even though the spinach is already pre-chopped, I like to go ahead and chop it up a little bit more. And then in a skillet over medium heat, I'm gonna add in 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. You can also use avocado oil, along with the diced onions. And then I'm just gonna saute those until they're soft and translucent. Now, while the onions are cooking, let's go ahead and season the chicken thighs. Of course, you can use whatever seasoning you want to, but I'm gonna use sea salt, pepper, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, and Italian seasoning. Go ahead and rub that seasoning into the chicken. And a little secret to keeping that chicken extra moist while it's cooking is to add in a splash of water in between each of the chicken thighs. And we're gonna bake the chicken at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes or until it's fully cooked through. And going back to the onions, make sure you stir them around occasionally to avoid burning. But once they're soft, go ahead and mince your garlic and add that in. Saute that for another minute or two, and then add in the spinach and some sea salt and pepper to taste. Mix that up and cook it for a few more minutes. Next, let's add in 1.5 cups of coconut cream. And this is the cream that sits on top of a can of full-fat coconut milk. And I also like to add in about a teaspoon or 2 of lemon juice for an extra kick. Of course, that's optional. Go ahead and mix that up and cook that for another 3 to 4 minutes. Once it's done, you can go ahead and set it aside. And by the way, this creamed spinach is a great way to sneak in vegetables with the kids. All right, now let's cook up 2 salmon fillets. Add in 1 tablespoon of coconut or avocado oil to a skillet over medium heat along with the salmon. And I'm just gonna season them with some sea salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and Italian seasoning. And just cook the salmon on each side. For the salmon, it doesn't take long to cook, so keep an eye on it because you want to make sure that you don't overcook it and dry it out. Once the salmon's done, go ahead and set it aside. Don't forget to remove the chicken from the oven once it's done. And now let's prep the sweet potato wedges. Go ahead and peel 2 sweet potatoes and then cut them into whatever size wedges you want. And in a mixing bowl, I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of avocado oil along with some dried rosemary, paprika, and sea salt. Mix that all up until all of the sweet potato wedges are coated with the oil. And feel free to use whatever seasonings you like for these. Now you can either air fry or bake your sweet potato wedges. For the air fryer, you're gonna place them onto the rack and air fry at 390 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. Give them a good shake and then air fry another 3 to 5 minutes. To bake the sweet potato wedges, just spread them onto a lined baking sheet and bake them at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 to 25 minutes or until they're slightly browned around the edges. And now it's time to prep our containers. I'm gonna add in the creamed spinach first. Then I'm gonna place the chicken thighs and the salmon on top of the creamed spinach. And lastly, let's add in the sweet potato wedges. By the way, if you don't like the sweet potato wedges, you can also just make mashed sweet potatoes. Go ahead and add the lids and dinner meal prep is done. Lastly, I'm gonna prep some celery sticks with almond butter to have as a snack throughout the week. Go ahead and chop up the celery into sticks and then add those sticks to a mason jar. And the key to keeping your celery extra crispy all week is to fill that jar to the top with water. And then I'm gonna pre-portion out my almond butter. You can add 1 to 2 tablespoons per jar, depending on how many calories you're aiming for that day. But just like that, we are done. Another healthy weight loss meal prep for a full 5-day work week. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. And my fridge is fully stocked and ready to go. All right, y'all, that is it for today's video. I hope y'all give this weight loss meal prep a try. If you do, be sure to come back and comment on this video and let me know your results. I love hearing your feedback. Of course, don't forget that the recipes and the macros will be listed on my blog and as well as the free PDF download with the grocery shopping list. So all those links I will leave for y'all in the description box below. Of course, if you are enjoying my meal prep series and you want me to make more like it, be sure to give this video a thumbs up to let me know. And if you enjoy these types of videos and you haven't joined the family yet, what are you waiting on? Hit that subscribe button below. But yeah, that is it for today. I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.